for me do bibia say amo bibia kwa ba e de aba the Punch TV so message so be share video e de ama me ama foforo nso enye bia share and any day di kan ya hwe video a me show me a subscribe button so na me de bia me ka e woni hia me ye pa wo mi aso na subscribe ya anytime bia be upload video no obenya notification na nso watimi akwa akohwe bi e de ama me no ahuni ekoso e wo oman Ghana mu hanim sem ye de ensem no ni e circulate wo media ne ho aso ene de ba besom se de dan da me kan wo ye hwan na wasem ba ye befa ne yaka na emom ye nyi bi mfim ye mfa bi enka ho mesro se afi nsusu like video yi fama me afi na wo comment no adwenkyere no wo ja comment section honom e de ama me metimi akenkan e de ama media ne de akire broni.
There is some new development in the front bench of the majority caucus. I can see 2 ministers in front. That is not normal. We have 1 minister to sit in front to present a paper. I have seen another minister, particularly the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, also seated in front. Are you... Honorable members, I think the Attorney General is not to be taken on. This is unknown to many, and so please don't see it as any attempt to assume any power. Yes, so let's move on. Go to page 14 of the original order paper. Item U, by the chairman of the committee. We have U Roman 1, Roman 2, and Roman 3. And I want to, there's also, yes, Roman 1, Roman 2, Roman 3, to be taken together with one bow. Chairman of the committee.
Report of the Finance Committee on the financing agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, and the International Development Association of the World Bank Group for an amount of $250 million United States dollars for the Ghana Financial Stability Project. Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, import NHIL, import get fund levy, EXIM levy, and the special import levy, amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of €1,517,040 for the supply installation of integrated e-learning laboratories in senior high schools, TVghana Phase 2. Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, import NHIL, import get fund levy, EXIM levy, special import levy, and other fiscal reliefs amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of $38,660,000 United States dollars on materials and equipment to be imported by the Ghana Bauxite Company Limited as a strategic investor under Section 15(1) of the Exemptions Act 2022, Act 1083.
Yes, Honorable Richard Achampong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in respect of the 250 million IDA facility, the committee met. We raised a lot of issues, and they promised to provide the committee with some information. We don't have those information, so we stood it down. We didn't even discuss it. So I'm shocked to hear that report is being laid before all of us, because the meeting was inconclusive. So why do you come and lay a report? Chairman, this is your maiden report. So please, Mr. Speaker, the committee still has the opportunity to meet and take a decision. We've not taken any decision on any report. So this is strange to all of us here. We did not take any decision in respect of the 250 million facility. There's no report.
Honorable members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the
Honorable members. Chairman, what do you have to say in response?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's true we met on these referrals and we agreed subject to. So the report is being laid subject to, and those information have been presented to us, and committee members will see the final report. So we cannot print the report without those information that has been given to us. So we are not doing anything illegal, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we will take you Roman 2 and 3 and defer Roman 1 in view of the objection that has been raised. Clearly, the report is not ready. Yes, so it can be late. Let's move. Sorry? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this development is very strange. We haven't even considered it at all. When they attempted to hold a meeting on
please,
it,
what did you say?
What I'm saying is that we haven't even considered the IDLO, let alone to talk about a report subject to. We haven't. It was stood down on the day you brought it, and we gave you reasons.
Preliminary objections.
Yes,
honorable members, so you are giving us conflicting reports. Because the first statement by Honorable Richard Achampong was that it was considered, but a number of issues were raised, and they agreed to provide the additional information. So no decision had been taken by the committee. That was his position. Now, your position is that it has not been considered at all. Please, let me hear from him. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, when they tabled this transaction, the committee had preliminary objections for which it was stood down at this very first meeting. In fact, one of our concerns was that the Bank of Ghana says we need 15 billion for the financial stability. We asked them to come and set up a Ghana Financial Stability Fund, into which those funds will be collected, because what they have brought is just $250 million out of 15 billion. So how are we going to account for it? They need to come and set up a fund. That was our position. And so they stood it down. And for me to be seeing a report subject to what? We haven't even considered it at all.
So your additional information is that you started the consideration, but you haven't completed. But when you say it has not been considered at all, that conveys a different meaning.
Maybe it was because not even the memo to Parliament was read before us.
What was referred to? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's simple. You referred this very document to the Finance Committee. At our first meeting, the very first meeting, we raised some preliminary issues, and we concluded, all of us, that based on the preliminary issues, we will stand down the consideration, provide us with those preliminary issues in terms of information that will help us to do a further consideration of this referral. We've not done that. So there cannot even be a report. It's as simple as that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Yes, but that is in respect of you, Roman 1. Yes. And that is what I have deferred. But I said you, Roman 2 and 3 are laid accordingly, and the reports should be distributed to all members of Parliament. The you, Roman 1 is deferred for further consideration by the committee. Yes, let's move on. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, for the past 2 weeks, we've had situations where papers have been late, reports have been late, and we complain that 24 hours after the report or the documents have been laid, members were not given copies. Mr. Speaker, the new chairman of the Finance Committee has just laid a report that some said the report exists, some said it doesn't exist. Mr. Speaker, I want you to direct the table office to start the distribution of what the chairman has laid today, so that we don't have to come tomorrow demanding the report. So if indeed the report exists, the one that you have allowed to be laid, Mr. Speaker, we want to see the table office distributing those reports now, so we don't have to call for it tomorrow. It is very important. Mr. Speaker, things are late. We never see it, and then the public get the impression that we have seen it. Mr. Speaker, to avoid that, once it has been laid, let the table office distribute them for us to see today, so that we don't get ourselves into trouble again. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Speaker, I'm not sure my good friend is seeking to question the competence of the table office. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate they can't speak into the mic. Over the years, the table office has demonstrated demonstrable competence, and the orders are clear. As and when sufficient copies are received, then they will go ahead and publish those documents and business on the order paper. They have not fell foul of the provisions of our standing order. So I think my good friend is totally out of order, and he should just sit quietly and allow other papers to be laid. He is completely out of order. The table office have been competent so far, and you should at least, if for nothing at all, you give them some credit. For the many years you have been in this house, they have displayed competence. So shall we proceed to order paper addendum and take the only business advertised on the order paper?
Please, let me assist in this matter. We have papers that come from outside. Those are the documents that are referred to, that when we have sufficient copies delivered to the clerk, then they are processed for admission and referred to the business committee to schedule for the consideration of the House. That one, there are sufficient copies to be distributed. But when the report is generated by the House, it's after it is laid that copies will be produced for distribution to members. And the copies are usually distributed through the office generally referred to as the table office, where you have the register. Some of you go to append your signatures. They put it in your, you call them pigeonholes. That's where they put them, and that's where you collect them. They are usually not distributed on the floor. It's only when, during consideration of a report, members say they don't have copies available, that we call on the table office to distribute the additional copies they have. If you have to encourage distribution of copies immediately they are laid, that would disrupt the of the House. And so we'll take note of the concern you have raised, and then copies are not distributed, then we could request the referral. But as at now, I think the property, we should allow the table office to try to produce additional copies that will be sufficient enough to be distributed to members through your pigeonholes. That is what I can say as a matter of practical and the processes of the House. Yes, please.
But just to maybe a guide to the chairman of the Finance Committee as well. We would encourage him that the next time he wants to lay a paper, that paper must actually exist in the case of the 250 million, because what he has done is an attempt to deceive colleagues by saying that a report from a committee exists. So, Mr. Speaker, it will be very important that, because unless you can prove that the report exists, trying to lay a report which doesn't exist is actually, Mr. Speaker, an affront to the integrity of this House. So, Mr. Speaker, the chairman of the Finance Committee must take note. The next time you want to lay a paper, you can only lay a paper that exists, not a non. In fact, he himself said that in the process, we don't lay in the process papers, we lay papers that exist. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Midofo ema revise ubemia subscribe button so say the dan ya upload video ubenya bia share e de ama me afen nso ube share ama afoforo enya bia share na wa like wa dwenkyere ne so no na wa hwie aguo no me ba bekenkan ni kama e de ama media ne akere broni.